9 young hikers set out to conquer the icy slopes of Russia's Ural Mountains in February 1959. They never came back. Weeks later, rescuers uncovered a scene that looked ripped straight from a horror film. A tent slashed open from the inside, personal belongings abandoned, and bodies scattered across the snow. Some half-naked in the freezing cold. Others with brutal, unexplained injuries. To this day, no one can agree on what happened that night. You're watching Silly Unearthed, the home of history's darkest mysteries. If stories like this keep you hooked, hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because this one is about to shake. This is the chilling story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student. Alongside him were 8 friends, young, experienced adventurers. Their goal was to earn their Grade 3 hiker certification, the highest qualification in the Soviet Union. They kept journals, snapped photos, and seemed in high spirits. Nothing suggested disaster was looming. But on the night of February 1st, everything changed. When they failed to return, search parties were sent out. What they discovered on February 26th stunned them. The hiker's tent was half buried in snow. But it wasn't collapsed from outside forces. It had been sliced open from within. Their boots, jackets, and supplies remained inside, untouched. Whatever forced them out sent them running into the deadly night barefoot and underdressed. 2 bodies were found first, under a cedar tree, barefoot, wearing only their underwear. Their hands were torn, as if they'd desperately tried to climb to safety. 3 more were discovered between the tent and the tree, frozen in the snow, as though crawling back to camp. It took weeks to find the last 4, buried in a ravine, and that's where the mystery deepened. Some had broken ribs and crushed skulls. Injuries so severe they resembled a car crash. 1 woman was missing her tongue, yet there were no signs of an avalanche, no tracks of intruders, no external wounds that explained the massive trauma. For decades, theories have swirled. Was it a sudden avalanche that forced them to flee? A top-secret Soviet weapons test gone wrong? An attack by escaped prisoners or local tribes? Or something far stranger, a paranormal force, or even UFOs, as some investigators hinted? Adding to the puzzle, traces of radiation were found on some of the hikers' clothing, and witnesses in nearby towns reported seeing strange lights in the sky on the very night they died. Initially, the Soviet authorities blamed Dyatlov himself, suggesting the experienced leader had misjudged the weather, panicked, and led his friends to their deaths. But that didn't sit well with the families, nor did the subsequent cover-up. After all, what would a desperate attempt to escape an avalanche look like? Would everyone abandon their gear and flee in terror? Would they crawl back towards the tent and freeze in odd positions without trying to make it all the way? And would the tent be left intact, sliced open from the inside? Not likely. So something else was at play. But what? One journalist who investigated the case for many years claimed there were signs of struggle at the site, though he was never allowed to return to take a second look. Another investigator pored over witness statements and autopsy reports, noticing inconsistencies and physical impossibilities. The brutal injuries to Yuri Yudin, who was found face down in the snow, baffled him. Yudin had no protective gear on, yet his body showed little sign of frostbite. His thick jacket, which should have protected him, was found zipped up, inside out, near the head of his tent. This detail alone suggests whatever force struck him did so with such violence that it forced his entire body through the tent opening. But then, why did some of the victims show signs of trying to flee while others did not? Why did some freeze in mid-crawl and others seem to wait around for a bit before succumbing to the cold? Could they have been incapacitated, one by some unseen predator, perhaps? But if so, why leave the tent undamaged? It seems the answers lie buried somewhere beneath the snow on that remote stretch of Dyatlov Pass. And maybe they're best left undisturbed. What do you think happened on Dyatlov Pass? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you're drawn to mysteries the world still can't solve, subscribe to Silly Unearthed, because some stories don't end. They echo forever in the snow.